Yeah, so I'll record that. So hopefully we're live in the group. Yeah, we are. So hopefully we'll have some people join and they can tell us what they're experiencing with this crazy intense Scorpio full moon. This moon always gets me. When I went and did the Hoffman process, it was on a Scorpio. I don't know if it was a full moon, a new moon, but it was something in Scorpio, and it was a complete emotional purge.
When was that?
That was in, this was before the last lockdown.
Right. Okay. So it was probably the new moon, wasn't it?
Right. And it was fucking really intense. And what I noticed about the kind of Scorpio moons is they bring up all the shadow stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, 7 degrees of Scorpio. So if
Yeah.
you've got any planets around 7 degrees of Scorpio, this is going to affect you more so. Or if your sun sign is Scorpio, or if your rising or moon is Scorpio, this one's going to affect you a lot.
Mm.
So, yeah, so Scorpio, I mean, it actually takes place in the UK at 4:31 tomorrow morning. So we're in that kind of build-up phase, aren't we? And you can feel it. It kind of feels, I mean, Scorpio being water is all about emotions.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels a little bit jittery, a little bit tense.
Yeah.
You know, there's big reveals coming out all over the place. I mean, look what's going on with the whole political situation at the moment.
I don't know.
Right, so shall I try and share my screen?
Yeah. So we've got ladies joining. So Nikki's saying this moon is killing me. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Hi Liz. Hi Christiane. How are you ladies feeling this full moon? Are you feeling tense? There's a lot of I just sense in the air that there's just, I'm waiting for this this shock. I feel like there's
Cataclysmic.
a shock coming, and I don't know if it's just for me personally or it's just something I'm feeling energetically, but I feel like we're on the precipice of some kind of shockwave.
Yeah. But it's, you know, I think it's felt like that for a while, to be quite honest. I think
Yeah.
this whole year has felt like that, because I mean, and there's a lot of reasons for that, which are kind of been highlighted by this lunation as well. I mean, it's mainly because we're locked into this square between Saturn
Wow.
and Uranus,
Yeah.
and they're never more than about 3 degrees apart all year.
Right.
And they're, you know, they're moving into another square, which will perfect what we call, when they're the exact degree, on June the 14th is the next one. We had one in February, and that alone just makes you feel tense.
Yeah.
And then we have this moon, and a full moon is where the moon is opposite the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with the moon being our kind of emotional body and our psyche and our spiritual self, and the sun being kind of our physical, egoic body, there's already that separation between these two energies on full moon. So full moons can be quite emotionally testing anyway. Layer onto that this is a super moon.
Uh-huh.
So the moon is appearing larger than she normally does. She's very close to the earth, so we feel her more intensely. She's in a water sign, so it's digging up all those emotions. And the water sign she happens to be in, of Scorpio, is one that's very much about deep intensity.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much about dredging stuff up that's very deep and psychological.
Yeah.
And the moon doesn't like being in Scorpio.
Oh, well, that's great because I've got a natal Scorpio moon.
Well, it always causes, it's almost like too much intensity, too much feeling, too much of everything.
Totally. Mine's conjunct Uranus, which is that crazy planet. So the moon plus crazy planet. Yeah. So yeah, my feelings are very
All over the place. Yeah. So you're gonna really feel this.
yeah.
And the fact is that you know, the sun is right next to one of the key players of this year at this moon, Uranus. So we're going to feel very kind of, like I say, jittery. We're trying to sort out what we're attached to, what we have to let go of, because full moons are often culmination points. You know, all these big astrological events this year, they're like pushing us along, trying to get us to change our lives. And yet Scorpio and Taurus, where the sun is at the moment, are what we call fixed signs. So they're not signs that particularly welcome change. They don't like change. They like to hold on to things. So if you've got a Taurus sun, a Taurus moon, even, well, definitely Taurus moon, or Scorpio, you know, you don't readily kind of easily move into change.
Yeah.
And so there's that, but Uranus is there. And so Uranus is forcing the pace of change, even if we don't feel ready for it, or even if we feel like, because of this past year, completely burnt out and just like, oh Christ, not more change. I can't, you know, I can't do this. There's something we're going to have to let go of, but there might be a bit of an emotional in order to let go of it.
What I'm noticing, and this is always not a good thing, what I'm noticing about myself is I'm sensing things, sensing changes that I need to make. So they're coming from, let's say, the moon, the subconscious, you know, the depth. If you think of the moon, you think of the night. Okay, it's emotionally charged. It's about depth and intensity. I'm feeling things, but I'm not acting on them. And when I don't act on them, when I don't act on them, something comes in and forces me to make the change that I'm resisting.
I think we're going to see a lot of that, and I'll tell you for why. The ruler of Scorpio, one of the rulers of Scorpio, Pluto, is stationing at the moment to go retrograde a few hours after this full moon.
Is
So
that why it's so intense? Is that I like adding, and then you've got the Saturn.
yeah, absolutely. So you've got Scorpio and his ruler. So the ruler is, you know, he's going to retrograde till October, till early October. And so when planets retrograde, it's almost like they're saying to us, you know, you've made these decisions or these changes have happened. Now you've got to go back and revisit it and have another look at it. And so things that we were like emotionally connected to, that we've had to change and maybe revise, or maybe we've been thinking about it over the past few months and thinking, I really got to do that. I really got to change that. Now events will arise in your life that make you kind of look at those decisions and make sure by October that they're absolutely the right decisions to take.
Definitely.
And it's deeply psychological. It's deeply kind of pulling out all, I mean, because Scorpio Pluto rules all that kind of toxic stuff. And so people might be feeling a little bit ill at the moment. They might think, oh, I've got to go on a fast or something, have a good, you know, literal clear out of the body and of the system. So yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing, without getting too techy about this, is that Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. And Mars is traveling through the sign of Cancer at the moment.
Oh, Nikki, you'll be feeling this, double Cancer girl.
Mars doesn't like being in Cancer. Cancer doesn't like housing Mars. You know, it's a completely you know, Cancer is all about nurturing and home and family and emotion. And then you've got this, you know, the powerhouse Mars, who's just like, you know, marching through there and, you know, making us all feel a little bit kind of shaking things up. I mean, a lot of my clients at the moment, they're making big changes on the home front.
Yeah.
You know, either physically moving or doing something to their environment. I mean, a lot of that as well is Venus traveling through her own sign of Taurus as well. So you want to beautify things. But you know, it all feels a little bit, you know, it's like, when is this energy going to stop?
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing about that moon in Cancer is it does have some nice aspects to it. Sorry, the Mars in Cancer, it's got some nice aspects to it. Um, you know, rather than it being completely heavily opposed or squared. So that's probably the only saving grace. But um, Cancer obviously rules the moon, and then you've got Pluto and Scorpio as well now having a bit of a say in there, and Mars being the warrior, and Mars is fire, um, is in a water sign. So all this water is kind of going on, but then you've got this fire aspect trying to get through. So what would you say that the Mars in Cancer does for people? Does it speed up the Cancerians who wants to stay in the shell, or does that fire get dampened down? Like how does it normally play out?
Well, there's quite an interesting thing going on at the moment, because when you look where the moon is in Scorpio, you know, Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio, as I said, as Pluto is the modern day ruler of Scorpio, but Mars is the traditional ruler. And then we have the moon rules Cancer. So when they're in each other's signs like this, they're called in mutual reception. So they're speaking to each other effectively. And what you have then is this kind of like upside down energy of the moon and Mars, because they're in each other's signs. And so what it's doing at the moment, because you can see this blue triangle here, this is called a trine. And Mars and the moon are linking to each other, and will be for another couple of days or so. So Mars in Cancer, generally, yes, it does speed things up, but it also makes our emotions quite agitated and quite volatile. Yes, on the plus side, it can help us get a shifty on with sorting things out, like family issues or home issues or this kind of thing. But in a bigger sense, there is a growing agitation, and this has been shown by this mutual reception between, you know, if we look at kind of what's going on a macro level, there's a lot going on here about not being happy with our emotional state, not being happy with what's going on maybe on the political level. And you know, there's a lot that's going on, because Saturn's really strong at the moment. There's a lot going on that's going to come down the pipeline about increased political control.
Yeah.
Or it could be, with Pluto in the mix, some kind of power play playing out in your life somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering as we're speaking with this Mars in Cancer, because it does intrigue me, Mars in Cancer, because they're so polar with what they contain. But Cancer rules the home, really. It rules, you know, the fourth house, which is about foundations, home, mother, nurture, and, you know, more than anything, your inner home, yourself, your core. So in a way, Mars, the ruler, is Aries and Scorpio, but they're about self-assertiveness. They're about leadership and leading from the front. You know, Mars is the warrior. It's also the god of war. I mean, my son's called Marcus. His name stands for the god of war, but that also for me means the god of peace. Because if you're the controller of war, you can have peace. You know, so you don't have to have war if you're the god of it. So what I'm trying to say is this Mars in Cancer for me possibly is speaking to me about self-assertiveness, self-assuredness, standing up for yourself.
It is to an extent, but Mars is in what you call fall in the sign of Cancer.
Yeah.
You know, he's exalted in the opposite sign of Capricorn, you know, operates really well in Capricorn, but in Cancer, he gets really pissy and frustrated and
Maybe
just
that's what
can't, you know, he's not in his full power.
Maybe Cancers need that though, because maybe Cancers, just generalizing, but maybe Cancers can be a little bit too passive.
Absolutely, but I mean, Cancers aren't really passive, you know. I mean, they're a really strident sign. I mean, what they are, and apologies to any, I mean, we've all got all of these energies in our charts, you know, so I'm not kind of picking on Cancers, but Cancers can be really passive aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, because they will say something really pithy or sarcastic, and then they go and retreat. You know, it's that crab-like shell, and they run away and retreat. You know, they don't like direct head-on confrontation.
Maybe
They
kind of Mars.
Yeah, so Mars is kind of like fueling them, but it's not fueling them in a good way because of this link into the moon.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like being in Scorpio, and this linking the other side of this triangle into Jupiter, which expands everything. So what's happening is like this, it's like this emotional bubbling cauldron, this alchemical soup of emotions that are very deep and very you know, frustrating. Like you can't, like you've got ideas about what you want to do, and like, yes, Mars, a lot of the planets are still moving forward at the moment, so it's kind of, it's a really good time till the end of May to start things, initiate things. But there's still this thing with Mars connecting into the moon, ruler of Cancer, about, you know, is it authentic for me? Does it really resonate? I'm about to start this thing. Am I completely emotionally aligned to it? You know, does it have integrity for me? Is it going to deliver, or is it another blind nabbit? Is it another kind of false start? And this whole Pluto retrograde till October is going to give you that opportunity to really look at where you're going now, what you're initiating now, because it's real seed planting time. You know, even metaphorically, go out and put seeds in the garden, really good thing to do. But the seeds that you're planting now, which will come to fruition largely in December, this whole Pluto retrograde transit, this Mars moon thing going on at this full moon, is kind of saying, are you really sure? Are you really sure about what you're going to do?
I agree with that. And on a level, I can totally internalize that. For me, what this is saying is this Pluto retrograde is in Capricorn. So Capricorn rules the 10th house of work. So Capricorn, work hard, climb to the top of the mountain, success, how you're seen in the world. And Pluto is rules Scorpio, and Pluto is about transformation. So wherever Capricorn is in your house, you've been going through a transformation, good or bad. It's going to take you down and bring you back up. So where all this Mars in Cancer is in the opposite place. So you've got these polar Pluto Capricorn going retrograde, making you rethink, relook, rejudge, is this right for me? The moon in Cancer, it's all about your internal stuff, maybe your home, your emotions. The moon in Scorpio links to Cancer, and then you've got Mars, the warrior that comes in there, the assertive one that maybe I feel might give you the kick up the arse that you need to go, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to tell that person I'm not happy with what they've done. Or you know what, I'm just going to back away from a deal I said I'm going to go forward with. But it might just give you what you need to really sort your shit out so you don't take that forward into going into towards the end of the year.
I just think as well, I completely agree with that. And, you know, I've always said, when I was kind of looking at this year, that it really starts to heat up at the end of April. You know, it's almost like, it's almost like the first few months of this year have been, you know, yes, it's been kind of frustrating, and, you know, and nothing's kind of taken off, you know, hugely. But now, because we're going through such seismic times, if you like, this period between April and November is really key. And this moon, this lunation in the early hours of tomorrow morning is one of those gateways into this energy. And what we're going to see is, you know, because the moon generally in the chart as well is the people. It's not just our emotions, it's the people, it's society.
Yeah.
We're going to see people getting in more and more agitated about what's going on, because the whole Pluto thing as well between now and October is about massive reveals. We think we've heard it all. We haven't seen anything yet. There are going to be massive reveals that are going to affect us all on a political, societal level.
Yeah.
But people are not going to take it lying down.
No.
And you're going to see this kind of, I mean, there was a massive march in London on Saturday. They reckon there was 1 million people marching against lockdowns and against the whole thing that's going on at the moment. Not a word in mainstream media. I mean, this march was like 9 miles long.
Oh my God.
Just
And what
people
they marching for?
people, you know, against the whole political stuff that's going on at the moment. Because what we're in effect seeing with this whole, you know, with Pluto Saturn meeting up this year, and then the Uranus Saturn squares, is a disintegration of the governance system, of the political system. It's all going to come down over the next couple of years. But what will bring it down is this unveiling of all the corruption that we're already seeing. It's, you know, it's like every day there's something more, but a lot of it is being kept out of the press.
Yeah.
And so this is going to start, you know, June is the month to watch, because that's when Uranus goes into another square with Saturn, and the temperature will rise, put it that way. It's not going to be a quiet, peaceful, lovely summer.
No.
There's going to be a mass of awakened, agitated people, because that's what Uranus does. Uranus is the awakener, the guru. And actually from this Friday, the sun meets up directly with Uranus. And that's another catalytic point. There could be some real surprises for people on an individual and collective level on Friday. So, you know, watch out for that. It's a really meaty kind of, you know, there's going to be a lot happening this week.
Yeah.
And really, you know, I'll stop sharing this screen because it's kind of distracting. Really, we all need to be looking out for one another at the moment, because it's really, the energy is not easy.
It's not easy. And you know, a lot of us, we get caught up, don't we, with me especially, with the things that we think we want for our security, you know, push the business forward, achieve that goal, but ultimately, what for? You know, what's the meaning behind it? What's the real purpose behind the drive? You know, and sometimes you'll find when you ask yourself that question, it's so simple, and it doesn't lie in achieving massive goals. It's like there already, and you could do that anyway, or you are doing it anyway. You know, when you look at your purpose behind what it is that you want for your life, it's so simple. It's only ever going to come down to some kind of emotional feeling, which you can get if you just looked around the corner, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And you know, this is a full moon and it's a super moon and it's in Scorpio. You know, I suppose esoterically Scorpio is related to death, you know, and when we say death, I mean, I don't mean, well, I kind of do mean literally, but I'll, you know, park that for now. But it's endings.
Yeah.
And so unless you are emotionally connected to what you're about to do or what you are doing, it will not keep going for you. It will end over the next few months, because this is the time where you have to put heart and soul into what you're doing. And if it's not there, if you're just going through the motions, just, you know, and we've all got bills to pay, but if you're just doing things just to pay the mortgage or pay for the car repayments, and you feel completely disconnected from what you're doing, then I think there's going to be some real shock and awe
Liz,
coming in.
Liz says, I leave my 11-year job this week. What?
Yeah.
Lucy says,
I've got clients all over the place, selling houses, ending relationships, you know, sticking it to their boss. I mean, it's that time when you really, even if you can't rationalize it, and that's the Uranus effect, you just got to go, oh God, I can't do this anymore. It's done. And you know it's done. It's been done for a while now. You just feels like you're wringing stuff out, but it's kind of like it's not delivering anymore, and it's certainly not delivering on an emotional level.
I'll just share with what happened to me at the weekend. Well, not so much what happened, but how I kind of internalized stuff. This Scorpio moon, it brings up all my shadow stuff around abandonment. My moon is next to Uranus, which can mean separation from the mother. I mean, it's in the 5th house of children and, you know, creativity and stuff. But either way, moon Uranus, it can mean separation from the mother. Anyway, I just noticed those feelings of abandonment that come through when this moon is active, and loneliness, and I go into, you know, a bit of a spiral about what I don't have in my life, the sadness that I feel, the love that I don't have, the longing for the love that I don't have. You know, it's all these things. Then your mind starts playing this program, doesn't it? Nobody bothers with me. Nobody, you know, nobody cares about me. Da 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 da. So I was walking the dog, and I had these feelings. So I was like, "Oh right, okay, you're back again. Yeah, I know you're gonna come back all the time. Every time this fucking Scorpio moon is there." I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So I'm thinking, and I'm like, "Right, you know what? I'm gonna do something about this." And I just started to kind of meditate on it, and like I asked to connect, you know, with my avatar. I thought, you know what? I'd listen to something about UFOs, and I'm not an ignorant person. If we're alive on the planet, given the fact there's billions of freaking planets, there's other fucking things out there. So I thought, well, you know, I'm going to imagine that I have an avatar, and my avatar is watching me. You know, she cares for me. She wants the best for me. You know, I'm down here, a version of her playing this game on Earth. So I'm going to ask her, why do I keep getting these feelings? You know, what am I supposed to do with them? Like, do I need to try and get rid of them? Like, how can I stop this playing out for me? And it's just as simple as don't think of it. Don't think about I can't remember what it was, but it's like, don't think about them. Don't give them energy.
Don't feed it.
Other
Yeah.
things that you can think about. And it was whatever was given to me, I can't really remember at the time, but I did something about it, and I changed the way because what I was thinking was creating a behavior, and that behavior was retracting myself from people who do love me and care about me. Because of that program, I was like, oh, you don't care about me, I'm going to keep myself safe over here. When actually, prove yourself wrong, send a nice message, reach out to the people who are there for you. You know, don't think about it in that way. I can't remember, I can't explain it very well, but however it came through, I stopped thinking about it in that way. And then it was like a different experience for me for the rest of the day. And I didn't have that shitty program hang around for much longer.
Yeah, I think that's fab, and I think it's so kind of fitting for this kind of energy, because you know that whole Scorpio Taurus thing is about habits. You know, Scorpio is definitely about emotional habits, and Taurus is about our confidence as well, and how we feel about ourselves, and the things that we just do out of habit and perpetuate. And I think that you know, ultimately this moon will be very cathartic. We'll be able to release a lot of that at this moon.
I'm seeing people I'm speaking to, they're telling me like this happened and I was able to stand up for myself and deal with it in different ways. So it's definitely bringing up some healing stuff for people.
I think it needs to. I think we need to kind of like heal and let go and release, because we are, you know, we're moving through this very transitional, very dark phase of our existence. And it's, you know, we're all being called to kind of look in the mirror, aren't we? A lot. And, you know, don't forget as well that the next, you know, by the end of May, we're going to be thrown into eclipse season.
Oh my God.
So,
So
here we go again. It's kind of like the eclipses tend to wrest things from us that we don't consciously let go of ourselves that have passed their sell-by date. So yeah, it's
in Sag and Gemini, or
Sorry?
where are the eclipses in Sag and Gemini, or?
You know, let me just check. I know it's the 26th of May. Yeah, there's yeah, because the nodes are in Sag and Gemini at the moment, the North Node. So the first eclipse on the 26th is in Sag. 2 weeks later, we've got a new moon solar eclipse in Gemini. But, you know, the fact that the nodes are there, you know, in Gemini at the moment is really kind of important as well, because we've all, Gemini is this dual energy, isn't it? We've all got this big decision to make about which way we go. It's a real kind of precipice life point.
It was interesting.
This point.
We talked about this, didn't we, when the nodes changed, and we, you know, it was the very beginning when the nodes changed, and we were like, oh, well, okay, Gemini means communication, Sag is the truth. So it was all about, okay, people are going to have to discern the truth out of all of the communication they're going to get fed. And that is definitely what's happening. You know, we're not privy to all the demonstrations that are taking place. I don't know what's going on politically because I don't follow it. But I know you see on YouTube and stuff, loads of demonstrations taking place. So people are trying to do something about it, but the communication isn't getting fed back to us. It's not fair. We don't have a fair, balanced system.
No, and people are waking up to that. I mean, all these portals, you know, this moon, you know, the solar eclipses are all moving us into like awareness and you know, a higher consciousness, a higher awakened state. But, you know, that's not to negate the fact that with that Gemini energy, there is this duality. It's like society is splitting, you know, into like two camps of people who believe this and people who believe that. There's this polarization, which is quite interesting to observe. You know, I don't quite know where that's going to go.
And it's so interesting that it's all about the rules. All about the rules, which is like Pluto and Capricorn in a way, Saturn in Capricorn. So it's all about the rules, and the split is about following the rules.
I mean, it definitely is, and it's kind of like the rule followers, the rule takers, and the, you know, the anarchists, basically. I mean, that's the way society seems to be kind of, you know, diverging. But all I can say is, because this is going to fry you a little bit, and fry a lot of people, unless you're, you know, super chilled, is just to, and there's some big incoming solar storms at the moment, which tend to kind of upend it, is to just drink loads, you know, keep hydrated, eat light, you know, get into nature when you can, ground, you know, all of that stuff. If you can earth yourself, you know, even for a few minutes a day, you're going to feel a lot better, you know, and ultimately this is taking us to a better place. It's just that it's, you know, a little bit kind of, you know, frying us as we go.
Should we do a little reading to see what this moon is?
Yeah, we can round off with a little card pull.
See if anyone's got any questions. If you've got any questions, guys, just post them now.
And yeah, if anybody wants any questions answered by the cards quickly, that's okay as well.
Lucy says, can we have faith? You've got to have faith. You've got to have faith. If anybody wants a quick card reading, Etta is bloody amazing, by the way. I call her my spiritual mama, because I've known you now for a good few years, haven't I? And astrology has just become a love of my life, and that's because of Nicola. So if any of you guys want a reading with her, then just book her, because she's bloody brilliant. So if anybody wants a little card reading, just let us know now.
I think my one big word as well for this moon is truth. There's a lot of truth that's going to surface on a personal level, but also, you know, what truth means for you. You know, a lot of big reveals with Pluto going retrograde. And the thing about truth is once you've seen it, it can't be unseen, can it?
Yeah, I think I watched a Russell Brand thing about the UFO. Are they coming out now saying, oh yeah, there are like UFOs and stuff? I think they're coming out saying that, and it's like,
Who do you believe?
well, I definitely believe that. Definitely believe that. And they're doing loads of stuff on Mars, aren't they? I'm not sure.
Don't get me started.
I think they're getting Mars prep. Leave all those minions down to rot.
Well, yeah, I don't. There's a lot of kind of obfuscation and distraction going on at the moment.
Yeah.
That's, you know, meant to kind of like turn us away from what's really going on. I mean, it's a real test of integrity, but also it's a real test of being able to discern right from wrong, truth from fiction. It's a very polarized, strange time. You can only, you know, you've got to tap into this, your heart, and just.
The biggest thing that will control you is fear. And if you are living in a state of fear, you will follow the way showers. Whether the way showers have the best intentions, is who knows, but you will be controlled by fear. So if it's a case of switching off what brings you fear, then do it for your own sanity. It's the only way you can ever help the collective is by switching off the fear, tuning into yourself and to the earth and nature, because your thoughts and feelings, they're shared on a collective conscious level. So if they can control you by fear, then that that ripple effect runs into society, and all people get affected by it. If we could tune into something of an peace rather than fear, but it's not possible to do that if you don't feel peaceful inside. So no matter what is happening out there, you have to take control of your own vibration, because if you do feel that there is a control being placed upon you, you can counteract that by changing your internal state. That is the only power that you've got. If you don't have money, if you don't have whatever, the only power you've got, you are a battery, is generated by you and your thoughts. Joe says, where do you get your birth chart done? So if you know your time of birth, Etta can do a reading for you. Nicola,
Or you can go on to astro.com, astro.com, and you can like get your own birth chart there. And there's actually an interactive chart.
mm-hmm.
So you can just kind of like see where the moon is, see where Pluto was at the time you were born, and press those and it'll come up with a little reading for you, so that's one way of doing it. But if you've got, any kind of specific questions, then I would suggest going to a professional reader at the moment, because it just can help guide you through. But we're all human, and fear, as you say, Anne-Marie, is a very powerful force, and that's what we're all being asked to kind of face. And the thing is, and I don't want to kind of leave this on a bum note, but I think we're going to see a lot of things that really test us over the next few months.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to go through this to kind of like, just to kind of be able to get ourselves back to center quickly, and sort of deal with our own personal crap, so that we can just like hold that space, and just like, and remember to breathe when everything kind of starts coming down the pea shoot in a few months,
The cards I picked, funnily enough, are the Death card. So that's Scorpio. So it's about transformation. Got the Emperor card. So that can represent the Mars with the Emperor, with the Aries, with the Mars, the action. And then the Page of Cups, can that represent Cancer with the emotions? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very astrological reading there.
Yeah. What do you think that says? So the Death cards Emperor and Page of Cups.
Well, the Emperor can really, even though it's an Aryan dynamic card, he can really, it's like power.
I
And
think that's
so,
taking control of
it's kind
life.
of transformation. So you find your power.
Take it, yeah, that's what we just talked about. Taking control of your emotions, standing up for yourself, becoming emotionally assertive.
And then you find your new
Yeah.
love, which
Mm.
is the Page of Cups, your new thing that you connect to. So it's almost like getting rid of an identity that maybe even started. I'm going through this at the moment. There's certain aspects that you just don't feel represent you anymore. We've been through all this kind of trauma over the last year and
Mm.
before then, and it's kind of like, what you do now, does it really reflect your inner self? Or are you
Yeah,
just holding on to something because of X, Y, or Z? And if
exactly.
that's the case,
I
let it
think
go.
we could all take that on board. I mean, I am speaking about myself when I say that. Let me know if you feel the same. I don't know. But there's definitely things I feel I should be doing.
Yeah.
Especially in business. Like I should be doing this and then I should be doing that and I should be moving on to the next phase and then I'll do this and I'll do that. And it's like, mm, does that really align with my values? Really, really align with them? Or is it just s- you know, not ego led stuff because I'm not kind of doing it to show off with pride, but just, I don't know, like that Capricorn led stuff that just leads with the head and not with the heart. You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, you might create all of this, but it's really bloody hard to manage.
Mm-hmm.
And then really your values are like
Mm-hmm.
here, but then you're out here somewhere. So for me, it's like just strip it back, just bring it back to your values. Why the fuck do you get out of bed and do what you do? It,
Exactly. And we're all going to have to ask ourselves that question over the next few months. I mean, I've got pretty similar cards, really, but they're not as astrological. I've got the Ten of Pentacles,
yeah,
which is all those kind of structures and everything that we have and that we own and that we aspire to. But then there's this kind of very retrospective card of the Six of Cups, which is, it's also a card about kind of reconnecting with something that you used to love
yeah,
that you let go of,
yeah,
and the thing that you've got to battle is your mind. If you're asking yourself, why can't I do something? Why can't I have something? You can, because I mean, I'm speaking to a lot of business people at the moment, and they're kind of saying, well, I can't do this because we're in the middle of this pandemic.
yeah,
So I can't move this forward because of X, Y, and Z. And it's just so not true. Now is the time to manifest and start creating things and bring things online that you want to carry forward into the future. In fact, from about June, for a few months, it's going to get a little bit harder to do that because a lot of planets are going to be moving backwards over the summer.
right.
And so pushing things forward is going to feel a little bit
Yeah.
more tricksy. So
Uh,
if you want to get something, you've got to really tap in. What do I want to do? And then if you're coming up with reasons why you can't do it, you've got to look beyond, this is Pluto, go down into the depths. What is it that's stopping you from actually doing what you love doing? What is it?
mm,
Is it, do you feel kind of like tied into other people? Or people's approval, or do you think you won't make enough money, or da 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 da?
all those, and the Six of Cup really is about happy childhood stuff, isn't it? The emotional stuff. It just makes me think about, you know, the simple things like what made you happy as a kid. For me, it was silly things like bloody flower pressing and being in nature and looking at the stars, and all I wanted to do was live with the trees, like literally. um I could have lived with the camped out with the trees. That was literally what I wanted to do as a kid, and it just was just part of my makeup, that I was just in touch with nature. Now if I think about that and think about the joy that that used to bring and the mystery and the intrigue and the sense of actually coming home,
Mm.
which was quite profound. if I think about that and then I remember that and just do more of that in my adult life, you know, things can seem so much more simple and
Mm.
easier life.
I've noticed a lot of people are really tapping into their innate creativity at the moment. You know, they're going back to, you know, just doing, like you say, the simple creative things that they, even if it's not, you know, you've still got your job for your security at the moment, you know, there's something else that maybe you're not doing that just brings you that kind of heart opening joy. And what are you waiting for? I mean, now is the time to do that. Now is the time to bring that on.
Definitely. I mean, sometimes I think, you know, if the world went to shit, um, you know, what would you have? You know, what are you made of really? You know, we can all make money. Do you know what I mean? We can all like, you can all make money somehow. You might not like what you do, but you can make money. So if all of that was taken away, like the, you know, when people, the guys, stock exchange guys were throwing themselves out the window because the stock market crashed,
Mm.
you know, what have you got left if everything was stripped away? Because what you have left is who you really are, and that's your power center. And all of these
Exactly.
external magpie syndrome things, they take away your power, especially if
Hmm.
you place, you know, your worth on them. So what have you got really?
Mm.
Who are you really?
And, you know, probably just, you know, to end on this as well, you know, there are going to be massive financial disruptions this year, Uranus in Taurus. And it's important to, you know, not to hang on to something by your fingertips because you think it's going to bring you security. The thing we've got to navigate is there is no security this year.
You know, not
None.
even any such thing, Nicola, because I was thinking about this today. Is there any such thing as security? It's short lived. You may feel secure for a short space of time, but your health could go, family's
Hmm.
health could go.
Hmm.
Anything can happen that
Hmm.
rocks your level of security. So when
Yeah.
you think you, "Oof, I've got all, I'm all right, I've paid all my bills, I'm all right," anything can happen to upset your apple cart. So when your apple cart gets upset, what are your internal resources?
Mm. I just think that the whole of society has been reshaped this year,
Hmm.
and where we will be in a year is not where we are now. You know, we're going back to a more kind of grassroots community type civilization. You know, the astrology shouting it. You know, the last time, and I think I've said this before, you know, we saw these kind of activations in the chart was, you know, times like the fall of the Babylonian Empire, the fall of the Roman Empire. You know, the West as we know it, and I know that's going to sound frightening to some people, is going.
Hmm.
We're not going to have these societal governmental structures for much longer, certainly not beyond Pluto moving out of Capricorn, which is 2024.
Yeah.
So in lieu of that, we have to connect with what really drives us and sustains us and feeds us on a psycho-spiritual emotional level. Otherwise, what will we have?
No, I know.
Nothing.
No, you'll go insane if you can't
Exactly,
attach to,
exactly. Do more of what you love. I think that's the
yeah.
strong message of this moon.
Yes. Thank you, my spiritual mama. It's lovely to spend time with you, and we're going to do this more often.
Yeah, yeah. Chat, chat, chat.
Yeah. All right, gorgeous. I'll see you soon.
All right,
Take
sweetheart.
care.
Speak
Bye,
soon.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.